Hello everyone. I have an amazing dulcimer to show you today. This one is built by Terry McCafferty. I know many of you know Terry and know about his dulcimers. They're beautiful dulcimers that are amazing to play, and they sound great. But this one is a brand new model that he just came out with some really neat new features. One of them of which I know I've never seen on a dulcimer before. This model has been in development for quite some time. He and Steven Seifert worked on it to develop it and test it. And I first became aware of it when Steven Seifert posted a YouTube video of him playing one of the prototypes. And even back then it didn't have some of the neat features that I'm about to show you. So I got in contact with Terry because what Steven was demonstrating was Terry's dulcimer with a magnetic pickup on it. Something I'd been looking for on a dulcimer. So I kept up with Terry and told him to just let me know when he's ready to take orders. He got in touch with me not long ago and said he is, so I placed my order and now I have mine, and I wanted to show you what this thing is all about. So I'll switch the camera angle and I'll tell you all about it. All right, so here is Terry's new model of dulcimer. I'll go over the basics first before we get into the cool stuff that he's added to it. The top is made out of sinker redwood, and Terry tells me that this wood is more than 1,000 years old. So that's pretty wild in itself. Beautiful wood there, tight grained. And the back and sides are made out of curly cherry. Beautiful piece of cherry on this thing. And I'll let you know what this thing is on the bottom here in a little bit. Something new. The VSL is 25.8 inches. He has several different options for VSL. This is the one I chose. The fretboard overlay is Ebony. And as you can see, I ordered it as a chromatic. Flame sound holes. The fretboard is a radius fretboard. And not to get too far off the subject here, just a quick note about the radius fretboard. I wasn't sure if I wanted one because I'd never played a dulcimer with it before. Luckily for me, a lady in the local dulcimer group here in town allowed me to play her folkcraft for a short while that had a radius fretboard, and decided I liked it, and so I ordered that feature on this one. But really, if you're a thumb style player like I am, thumb style meaning if I'm chording, I'm doing a lot of stuff with my thumb like this, there's really not much of in my opinion, there's not much of a benefit to having a radius fretboard. The biggest benefit are for those who may mostly play with these four fingers, like Steven Seifert, Aaron O'Rourke, and many others. As they say, a big benefit is if you're doing bar chords with a single finger, like with a pinky or whatnot, that curved fretboard helps with that. So I was going all in with this dulcimer, so I figured I'd get it as part of it. But in the real world, in my opinion, if you're a thumb player like me, there's not much of a benefit to it over just a standard fretboard. I'm also fairly new still to the chromatic world of dulcimer. But one thing I wanted to point out that really helped me, and I didn't think about this when I ordered it, but Terry offers a few different designs for the position markers on his dulcimers, and he has certain ones for his chromatic, and this is the pattern I chose. But now that I have it, again, I didn't think of it at the time, but each marker is a little bit different from the others. It's a diamond shaped. This is a smaller one, this is 2, this is 3, this is 3 of a different shape. And what I've discovered is that helps me realize where I am on the fretboard better. My brain processes that a little bit. Instead of having just all of them being round dots all the way down or the same shape all the way down. This kind of helps me. This may be me and my brain, but I thought I'd point that out as something that's been helpful for me with getting used to a chromatic dulcimer. This is his new headstock, more of a Fender style shape. And this is an option you can get, self-trimming tuners. As you see, the string does not wrap around the post. You stick the string through the hole and it trims it off. So that is an option. And here is the magnetic pickup that I mentioned that I was looking for. So that's the first pickup it has on it. It's not the only one. And it uses the vibrations from the strings to make the sound. And one of the reasons I really like the magnetic pickup is if you're a little heavy-handed on the fretboard with your left hand like I am, and you're kind of thumping your thumb sometimes like that, it doesn't pick those up, which is helpful, especially if you want to record something. It doesn't pick up those thumps. It also makes your dulcimer sound more like an electric guitar. Makes it easier to apply effects and things like that in the vein of an electric guitar. The second set of pickups, as you'll see that this has 3 individual bridges here at the end. Not just one, it's 3 individual, one for each string. And you can adjust them forward, back, up, and down to get the perfect intonation, which can also be helpful if you like to go back and forth between string gauges. That really help you dial in the intonation. And each string has its own individual piezo crystal pickup in it. Piezo, however you pronounce it. So they're all individual pickups in there, which is also pretty cool. And that gives you a more acoustic sounding pickup. Not perfect, but more acoustic sounding than the magnetic. And the third, this is the neatest thing of the whole dulcimer, is this port right here on the side. It's a MIDI port, M-I-D-I. Now I'm going to keep this very simple layman's terms here for now. I'll be making videos about what I'm doing with this later. But this allows you to plug in a MIDI interface and allows you to make your dulcimer sound basically like anything you want it to sound like. I can play my dulcimer like I normally do, but what comes out of my amplifier or gets into my computer, I can make it sound like a grand piano, or a flute, or a tin whistle, or a spaceship, or a duck quacking, or an orchestra. The sky's the limit on that. And this is really, it's going to be a lot of fun to play with. I'm already having a ton of fun with it, all the sounds and music I can make with it. And people to keep an eye on with this is Steven Seifert has one of these. I know he's going to do amazing things with it. Bing Futch has one. He'll do amazing things, and I think there's 1 or 2 out there right now. They'll be able to do more with it than I ever will, but I'm having a blast with it so far. We also have other controls here on the side, and on the top, he has them labeled what the controls are. Like this one is for the MIDI controls. This controls the volume, and there's a program switch here, which that can perform different functions depending what you have plugged in and what you have it configured to do. I have it plugged into a MIDI interface where if I flip the switch up and down, it'll go back and forth between the different sounding, the different sounds I can make the dulcimer produce. This one's labeled Fretboard. This is for the magnetic pickup. You can adjust the volume and tone, and you can switch between humbucker and single coil. And then the bridge, it's labeled bridge here, that's for volume and tone for the piezo pickups. If you plug a mono cable in here at the end, you get a blend of the magnetic and the piezo. If you plug a stereo cable in, you get the sound separated from each one. You get the magnetic separate from the piezo. And also at the same time, you can also be sending this MIDI out to something out as well to do something. So you can have 3 different outputs going on this at the same time. So there's a lot that can be done with this thing. And like I said, I'll be making more videos in the future as I get used to what this thing can do and learn what I can do. In this video, I won't go into what the magnetic or the piezo pickups sound like. I'll be doing that later on. But what I will do is some very basic things that you can do with the MIDI, just to give you an idea of how crazy you can get with this thing. And you don't have to get crazy either. You can, just do some beautiful music with it, making different sounds with it. And I'll also play a tune acoustically so you can hear how it sounds just playing like a regular old Dulcimer. But Terry is placing, or has this available for order right now. And you don't have to get it with a MIDI interface. You can customize these things. I know he sold one where it has the magnetic pickup, but not the MIDI, because the MIDI, of course, will add more cost to it. And you don't have to get the special piezo if you don't want. Terry will work with you however you like. And just FYI, this is not a sponsored video. I paid me own money for this. So let me play you a tune acoustically, then I'll show you some basic things that you can do by plugging in a MIDI interface into this thing. And I'll show you what I use to produce the sounds. So here we go. Okay, so I just want to show you some basic things that you can do with the MIDI interface on this Dulcimer. Right here, I have a 13-pin cable running from here to my Roland GR33 MIDI interface. And I'll pop up a little window on the screen here so you can see it. That's a Roland GR33, and it has hundreds of different sounds you can have your instrument make. I chose this one because this is what Terry and Steven both used to test and develop this Dulcimer. It's an older unit. I think it's like 15, 20 years old when they first came out, something like that. But they're great little units, and you can get them fairly cheap on eBay and elsewhere. I think Bing Fudge has the GR55, which is a newer version. But anyway, what I have here is I have it selected to grand piano right now. So as I play my Dulcimer normally, you'll hear some grand piano sounds, as I have a cable running from the Roland to my little Fishman Loudbox Mini Charge amp, which is sitting right below the camera here. This is a nice little amp, by the way, to use in your house or for very small venues. And it can also run on a built-in rechargeable battery, which is neat. But anyway, here's grand piano on a Dulcimer. So I think you can see the possibilities there, because you can have the sound of the Dulcimer separate from the MIDI interface going into whatever you're recording into. So you can have it all as separate tracks. That way you can mix them however you like. So that's also going to be fun for me to play with. But here on the Dulcimer, under the MIDI section, there's a program button, and I have it set so it scrolls through the different sounds that I can make with this interface. And there's different pianos, make it sound like a rock organ, gothic sounds, make it sound like an accordion, a bamboo flute. Here's one I wanted to show you, is the tin whistle. So I can hear that playing along with myself, playing some Irish tunes or something like that. It's a nice accompaniment. So you can use this stuff to accompany you, or you can have a separate track for harmony or anything like that. Again, there's hundreds of different sounds this thing can make: harmonicas, saxophones, trumpet. And I haven't hardly touched any of them yet because there's just so many. But here's a fretless bass. So you turn your regular Dulcimer into a bass. Pedal bass. Here's rock lead. There's your rock guitar you can turn your Dulcimer into. Strat, steel string guitar, pedal steel, flamenco guitar, tubular bells. I could spend hours demoing all these for you. But there are videos on YouTube of guys, and it's guitar guys who use this thing mostly. So if you look on YouTube and search for like the Roland GR33, there's videos out there of guys going through a whole bunch of the different sounds. Even though they're doing it on a guitar, it's still going to be very similar to what you would do with a Dulcimer. So I'm looking forward to what I can come up with this. What kind of music I can come up with. There's an orchestra, fiddle, different kinds of strings, choir, fun stuff. I can't wait to get more deeply into this, make some more videos, and just have some fun. So that's it. If you have any questions, you can send them my way. And everyone stay safe and keep on playing.